Hello and welcome to the channel Ruckosaurus Rex, where we review and discuss all things dinosaur and other prehistoric animals. How you guys doing out there? It's been a minute, but I am back, and look who I am back with. This is another offering from Haolonggood. It is they're back to their herbivorous ways, if you will, as they've blessed us with a stegosaur. And this stegosaur is the Dacentrurus. As you can see from the packaging, this time they've gone on and given us a skeletal image of the Dacentrurus, and this is at 1/35 scale. At least that's what it's supposed to be. We know that Haolonggood is all over the place with their scale. We have at the top of the packaging their previous offerings all doubled up, because they do bless us with two different color versions of their species. The only one that we see a single version of is their Tyrannosaurus, but they actually had two different colors of that as well. On the flip side is the same thing that we got on the previous side, only the coloration is just a little bit lighter, and you see the Dacentrurus name, if you will, a lot larger, and their mascot logo is a leaf of some kind. Somebody, if anyone knows what species of leaf that is, you can put that down in the comments section below. Here we have our Dacentrurus on the rotating platter, so you can get the full 360-degree visual of this model, and I must say it is a beauty to behold. This is very nice. I tell you, stegosaurs with their plating and their spikes, thagomizers, and all of the above. The way how they come differently is they are truly they make bizarre beautiful, if you know what I mean. And this species is no different. Dacentrurus was it existed in the Jurassic period, the late Jurassic period, very late Jurassic period, as a matter of fact, because it even bled over into the Cretaceous, believe it or not, for a stegosaur. It existed about 154 to 140 million years ago. Mostly Europe, England, places like that. Another fun fact about Dacentrurus is that it was the first stegosaur discovered. Now, some of you that know about how dinos are named, how species are named, are probably wondering, well, if it was the first discovered, how come it falls under stegosaur? How come Stegosaurus got the lead on the whole family of Stegosauridae? Well, that's because when Dacentrurus was first discovered, it was named Almosaurus, and it kept that name for a minute. Until it was finally realized that another species of animal was given that name. It was a crocodilian, if I recall. So it was rechristened Dacentrurus, and that means very sharp tail. I wonder why. Anyway, by the time all that was said and done, stegosaurs had been discovered, described, and named, so it got the first dibs. You know, it's that's how it goes down, and it turned out to be probably the right thing to do anyway. Stegosaurus, being the type species for the entire line, the entire family, was also the largest of the species, not the species, but the family, the clade, whatever you want to call it. Now, Dacentrurus was not far behind in terms of size. Dacentrurus is reported to be between 26 and 30 feet long. So probably the sweet spot would be about 28 feet long. They estimate that it got up to 30 feet. I don't think we have any specimens of it at 30 feet, but they estimate that it probably got up that high. Anyway, let's get our Dacentrurus off of the rotating base and take a closer look at it, shall we? So now we've got the Dacentrurus off of the base. First things first, let's get size measurement. And this Haolonggood model comes in at, if you go from snout to tail tip, it's about 8.5 inches. But if you go from the snout to the tip of those thagamizers back there, it's closing in on 8 3/4 inches. Now, when you do your calculations, I'm doing it based on going to the tail tip, not the thagamizer, because I'm sure that back then they ended up pointing in all kind of different ways. I don't think that they all pointed to the rear in the same direction, not all of them. But if you did your calculations, your estimates for the 1/35th scale, this model represents a creature that was about 24 and we'll just say 3/4 inches long, 3/4 feet long, I'm sorry, 24 3/4 feet long. So it's more or less undersized, but like I said at the beginning, Haolonggood is all over the place with their scale. So it's probably their last few offerings have been smaller than what they should be, so technically they're in scale with each other. But if you want to mix and match and you're a stickler for accuracy with scale, and you don't want to convince yourself that it's a sub-adult or juvenile or whatever the case may be, this is definitely undersized, especially considering that it's supposed to be one of the larger stegosaurs. But that's okay. Taking a look at it, looking at all of the how the spikes, the plates, the scales, how they change is just incredible to me. And well, let's get it close up. Hopefully, I'll be able to. Yep, that's great. I was hoping that it wouldn't just blur out on me. So, looking at the head, you can see this is a typical stegosaur head. As far as the model is concerned, though, I think the detail, as in like showing the mouth separation, a lot of times these companies have a difficult time showing the detail on some of these smaller headed species like stegosaurs. Stegosaurs just, they had small heads, all of them. And so it's kind of difficult to discern between the upper and lower jaws, but not in this case. You can actually see where the mouth comes in. Even from this far away, you can see some of the scalation going on with the head. The eye is basically white with a black pupil. You could see the nostrils, which are cool. You can see the difference. I just went dark on you. You could see the difference. The snout is darker than the rest of the head. The base body is like green, bluish green. There's some blue in there, like blue-green, and then there's actual green, like going. I don't know if the green is going over it or the blue is going over it. I tend to believe that the base paint is blue and the green is what's accentuating it. That's what I believe. Anyway, looking at the head, if you look at the top there, you could see some of those scales, very pronounced, very pronounced. And then looking at the neck, you see what I'm talking about there. Look at those scales, or rather I guess they're scales. I don't know if I want to call them scales or, plates. But I guess they would be considered plates. As they get larger, as we move back, you see they're getting more and more pronounced. These are definitely bona fide plates. So yeah, we're going to go with calling them plates. And then as you continue to go down, you see that those plates become spikes by the time they get to the tail. And there are 2 rows of spikes, and there are plenty of them. And then, of course, the tail ends in the thagamizers back there. I don't even think, and it's wild because when you think of Stegosaurus, the very end of the tail is the business end of the tail. But I think if you get hit with the thagamizers from this critter, you getting off easy, because it's the rest of the tail that is the problem. As far as other spikes go, they put shoulder spikes on this model. Now, that's probably because Haolonggood went with it. There is debate as to whether this species actually had these shoulder spikes. I don't know if they had them or not. I just love the look of them having the spikes. I love them on stegosaurs, on certain species, and on ankylosaurs. There's a lot of nodosaurs that have shoulder spikes on them as well. So that's pretty cool. Looking at the legs, forelimbs, it's got that green, and you can see the blue coming in, and then it turns to like a brown there at the feet, and the toes are painted a gray color. The spikes, you can see they're brown, and then they come out to a cream color. You can see that right there. As far as the spikes on the back, they're brown, and then they melt, they blend into a there's some cream in there, and then some caramel like brown as it gets to the tip. And the same thing with the actual spikes until you get to around this one. This one is like brown, dark brown, and then it turns cream, and then dark brown, and then it's a darker cream color, and then this last one is dark brown right there at the bottom, and then it turns into it's like there's cream in there, but there's some reddish hue on top of that. So then looking right down the middle of those spikes, you can see there's some brown there, and you can see the scales. Hopefully you can see that in the camera. There's some scalation going on right down the middle of those two rows of spikes, plates, thagamizers, whatever you want to call it. Rear leg, it's basically the same like with the forelimb. I'm loving the folds and the wrinkles. Gotta love that. I always do. Looking at the bottom, looking at that neck, you got folds and wrinkles at the top of the neck. It's got a relatively long neck for a stegosaur. And speaking of long necks, I'll put this back out here for a second because I've got another fun fact for you. If the reason I said speaking of long necks is because the Dacentrurus is the closest living relative to the Miragaia. If you guys know about the Miragaia, then you know that it had an exceptionally long neck for a stegosaur. And we will compare that a little bit later. But yeah, so back our Dacentrurus up so you can get another look. In fact, you've already seen him from left to right. Let me flip him around so you can see him from right to left on an angle, which I think is its best side right there. And here is that Miragaia that I spoke of, courtesy of PNSO. And yeah, they actually look kind of nice together. But let me profile him up so you can kind of sort of see some similarities there. Move him out the way a little bit and turn the Miragaia that way, and then the Dacentrurus. Kind of sort of line them up against it. But yeah, these are the two closest living relatives to one another. And here is the Vitae Wurosaurus, and I got this one out here because it also is sporting the shoulder spikes, and it was also debated whether or not this species had them as well. And as you can see, that debate is carried on by Haolonggood themselves. This is their Wurosaurus, and you see it is sans the shoulder spikes. So they just don't know it. I'm trying to figure out why that became a thing in the first place. It may be, I'm reaching here, throwing something at the wall and, you know, seeing if it sticks. But maybe the shoulder spikes on many of these species, whether it be ankylosaur or stegosaur. They really were part of the rows of spikes slash plates on the back of some of these animals. But who knows? And finally, here we have Big Daddy himself, Stegosaurus, for whom the entire clade is named after, next to the guy that should have had the entire family named after, but due to a faux pas for several years, I should add, it just didn't happen that way. Anyway, there it is, Stegosaurus by PNSO. So for my summation segment here, I tried a little mock-up, something different, and we're going to assume that this particular Dacentrurus actually made its way into the Cretaceous. Now, I'll feel a little silly if come to find out that grass, which as you could see it's standing on, which did come into existence in the Cretaceous, but I didn't check to see exactly when, so I'll feel kind of silly if grass didn't start arriving until after 140 million years ago. So let's hope that Dacentrurus actually saw and felt grass, because that's how it's going down for my closing segment here. And speaking of closing, let's talk a little bit about the Dacentrurus from Haolonggood. Very nice figure. It's a beauty in my estimation. Comes in two different colors. Of course, I took the blue-green route. And the spikes and everything look absolutely great. I think this is some of Haolonggood's best work. As always, it's just incredible to me how you get this type of detail and accuracy for the price point. You know, this only cost, I believe, what did I pay for it? I think $20, I think. And you can get it without the box, so it's about $2 cheaper than that. So you know, that's pretty cool. It's a very nice figure. It's undersized, but Haolonggood is once again all over the place. They just claim the 135 scale, but their scale range is I mean, it's askew at best. You know what I'm saying? But they do seem to work with one another. It's when you want to mix and match with other species, or rather I should say other brands, where it may become problematic if you are a stickler for the scale. But once again, you could always play the role. You know, it's just like humans. We're not all the same size, so we know that they were estimated to get to certain sizes, and they probably range differently. This represents a just under 25-foot long animal, so we can just go with that. We can think it's not fully grown, or we could think it's a female if we're going to go with females being smaller than males, or yeah, or whatever, you know. But it'll still work. It's not like it's so far off a scale that you can't mix and match. You can, and you probably will. Anyway, guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We need subscribership, but more importantly, we need views. You know, we need people to actually watch. But we need it all. We need the subscribership as well. If you have any comments, please leave them below. What do you think about this particular model, this particular species? And what else would you like to see from Haolonggood? They're doing great so far. You know, they've had very few hiccups. They're not perfect by no stretch, but they are very, very nice. And I'm happy to have it in my collection. If you want to be notified the next time I upload a video, hit that notification while you're down there and you will be notified. So yeah, that'll do it this go around, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care.